Okay, I realize it's going to be really loud here today because there's a ton of people here. That's the joy of Ignite. There's 30,000 people here. It's crazy. It's insane.
Yes.
But, we'll do the best we can. Hopefully it sounds pretty good with the two of us at the mic. We'll have some guests in and out along the way. But,
yeah, I'll be sitting here the whole time. We have better people coming in.
Okay, good. Go get out of here, jerk. Anyway, I know it's not very often we get to do 2 webcasts in a month. We did one, what was it, 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago, where we did the servicing webcast. Uh-oh, yes! You gotta represent. For those of you who know what this is, you know what it is. If you don't, I'll tell you in a little bit. You gotta hang around because you're gonna be the first person to put on this, right? Okay, so just hang tight. I gotta be in That's fine. I'll get you on here quick. That's Carm. We're gonna talk to him in a second. So, for those of you who don't know what Ignite is, Brandon's leaving me. Brandon's abandoning me. Brandon, tell people what Ignite is. What is Ignite?
Ignite's you put me on the spot. I can't do it.
It's one of Microsoft's big 3 conferences that we do every year. So first in the year, usually in May, is the Build Conference. And then usually sometime in the summer, we have Inspire. And then we have Ignite, obviously, usually around the last week of September. Build is very developer-focused. Inspire is very partner-focused, so partners that Microsoft works with from all across the globe. And then Ignite tends to be very focused towards the IT professionals crowd, as well as enterprise developers. They're another subset of folks who come here and attend. But there's really nothing that prevents one person from going to any or all 3 of the conferences. It's really a good chance to learn about Microsoft products, the things that we're doing, what individual teams are, get questions answered. I know that during the course of this week so far, from Monday until today, every single day I've helped people with troubleshooting. So people actually bring the machines that they're having troubles with for the Insider program, debugging setup and deployment type issues, answering questions, helping users file feedback, educating people on the Feedback Hub. All kinds of fun stuff. But, as you can imagine, given the nature of the folks at this conference, we spend a lot of time talking about our Wit for Business effort, which is steadily gaining traction, and it's a very, very important thing for businesses to engage in. Carm. Hey, Jen. Okay, I'm just reading the comments real quick to make sure I haven't missed anything. Where are the
fans? Hi, everyone.
I know, right? Somebody knows who you are. So real quick, Carm. I know who you are.
Well, of course.
But for those
together, that's serious.
Yeah. And we lament over T-Rexes, right? Threadzilla in the house. So real quick, tell people who you are, what team you're on, and what do you do?
All right. I am Carmen Pergoli. I'm a program manager in typically our strategy and ecosystem area. We work with partners across the entire spectrum from Windows perspective. I am focused on server partners mostly. Specifically, I run the Windows Server Software Defined program. So that is a program for Windows Server that is partners with OEMs to develop solutions that use all of our software-defined technologies, package them up, and deliver them to the customer in a way that they can be successful. Because we've learned pretty well over the last several months with Windows Server that trying to do this on your own is very difficult. Customers would struggle, and they weren't happy with the experience. So we decided to build a program around giving them something that was already built to do what they needed, so that they could deploy and focus on their business projects instead of on how do I make Windows Server do the thing I want it to do.
Wow. Yep. So I'm assuming there's been positive results. People are excited about the effort.
Yes. To be honest, I'm amazed at how excited people have been this Ignite. I've spent the last 9 months trying to raise awareness about the program because it's relatively new. We only started it in July of last year. And we had a hard time getting off the ground. Our competitors are very entrenched. Companies like VMware, they didn't even know Microsoft did this stuff. So I had to go out and figure out how to tell people the story, and I've done well enough at this point that people just are approaching me to talk about it. And the show has been tremendous. We have a whole HCI Expo over in the Windows Server area where I have some of my partners with cool hardware stood up, sitting there. So if you like blinking lights and systems with, dozens of cores and dozens of flash drives, you should go over and check it out. I mean, I'm a hardware geek at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Server client doesn't matter. I love hardware.
Sure.
So the fact that I got some expo space on the floor for my partners, and they got to bring in all of their crazy hardware, this is the best Ignite or the Tech Ed or anything. And I've been to a lot of them. I've been with Microsoft 21 years. I've been to a lot of shows.
Wait, 21 years?
Yeah.
I did not realize it. So you've already got the 20-year crystal?
I already do.
I did not realize you'd been. Wow. Okay.
I want to be like you when I grow up.
Yeah, I know, right? Like I realized I totally interrupted your train of thought, and I apologize, but I did not realize it had been 21 years.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
I've spent almost half of my life with Microsoft. I'm not that old. I've just been here for forever.
It sounds like you're still having fun.
Oh, I love this company. I love it. I'm not retiring anytime soon if I can help it. Put it that way.
Something that you said that I want to highlight on, right? And it happens with us. I mean, you think, Microsoft being as big of a company as we are, that, hey, we just create something and we tell a couple of people about it and then kind of the whole world finds out about it. But like you've made a good point here where it doesn't work that way. It doesn't really matter how much awesome stuff we create. If nobody knows about it, nobody's going to know to try it out, use it, test it, that it can solve problems that they have, whatever it may be designed to do, And like even the Insider program originally, right? When it was first put together, it was like, hey, we should tell some people about this, right? We got super fortunate that it caught on like wildfire, and tons of people know about it. But it doesn't matter how many conferences I go to, how many webcasts I do, how many tweets I send out. There's always somebody's like, hey, can you tell me about this Insider thing? And it always amazes me because of the amount of, it's not even just like traditional marketing or anything, right? Just word of mouth and the number of conferences and things we go to, like I mentioned, like we're always talking about it, right? Granted, it's my job, right? I love my job. I love talking about this stuff. But it actually takes a whole lot of effort to get attention to the new things that we do.
It's funny. You made me realize if someone asked, I'm so Insiders is such a part of my reality and the air that I breathe that if someone asked me like, what is the Insiders program, I would pause. I'm stuttering now. I'm like, but you don't know? I actually don't know how I would describe it. I just assumed everyone knows about the Insiders program. It's not like we don't talk about it, right? I just feel like it's out there. People discuss it. I'm like, all right. And then I would probably point them at you.
Yeah, well, of course. I'm happy to always answer questions. And even as a subset of the Insider program itself, there are still people that don't know about the feedback hub, right? I'm not going to give my usual 10-minute diatribe on this is why you file feedback and this is how to file good feedback. I'll spell everybody that, right? I'll just save it for the next webcast. But to the point we're making about evangelism really is what it is.
Yep.
Like, even within, like, the concept of a program or buried within an application, there's always features and sub-functionality. There's ways of doing things that even if you know about the concept of something, there's always these like sub-aspects. I don't really know what to call it. There's always features of this program or an application. And then there's your boss standing behind you making funny faces.
I had to...
You see what I gotta put up with? You see, this... Oh my goodness.
I turned away so that I didn't give it away. I saw her like, and I was like, nope, not looking.
Sorry.
That is definitely in the spirit of Freddie there.
Oh, absolutely.
That sounds about right.
Let me finish the last sentence. There's always things we have to tell people about to make sure they understand it end to end and what all the program or feature is capable of. Okay. Donna.
Yeah.
Hop in for a second. You don't get to step out. You got to pop back in. So.
What are you guys doing?
Talking to Carm.
Okay. What'd you do? Did you make up your one-liners that you think?
It's not a one-liner.
What is it?
It was I walking around. I have multiple partners on the floor, and they're here showing off. I already said SSD. Windows Server software defined. Jason already gave them all this. I'm repeating myself.
You need the one-liner.
That's okay.
I work with OEMs to produce validated solutions that help customers succeed with Microsoft software defined.
No, you too.
Sorry, he's trying to take a picture and we're like,
This is the typical
Sorry.
unorganized chaos that
Clearly,
represents what these
chaos.
webcasts.
No one is yelling.
Clearly, my one-liner needs work because I was not holding anyone's attention for that one.
WSSD,
on it?
Windows Server,
Software defined,
Windows Server, who named it? Windows Server Software Defined.
not me.
Is.
Is Microsoft working with OEMs to validate solutions so that they can be successful with Microsoft's software-defined technologies?
Microsoft is, or WSSD is working with OEMs to make sure they can use our shit without being
But not the OEMs, the customers. We want the customers to not be broke.
We're going to enable
working
customers.
with OEMs to make sure that all of our current customers can use our shit without fiasco.
Yes. Yes. Fiasco.
Epic
That's
fiasco. Epic fiasco.
And nobody going to jail.
And no one will do it.
Yes.
Sorry to crash, but seriously, we need a one-liner because that way everyone's, and the more weird words it has in it, rather than solutions and the more everyone's going to remember. You're like, there's Connor, he's the guy who works on preventing fiascos, right? Like, think of words that are not used all the time, especially in corporate landscape, and use things that normal people use.
You know I'm not selling to consumers though, right?
Right.
Okay.
But it's when you explain here, you want people to remember. It's
All right.
not that whether they understand it, everyone understands it.
Okay.
You want them to be able to remember.
Okay.
Do you know how many times people tell us it's video?
Hi everyone, I'm getting live mentoring, and I'm grateful for it.
But everyone hears like the word solutions and like program and this and that and the next thing. So you have to give them a sentence that's unusual. And people are like, oh yeah, you're the guy with
Right.
the top, right?
Yeah, I get what you're
So
saying.
we say Windows Insiders are the millions who represent billions. We don't go into copious detail. We roll out release bills and then they give us feedback and then we go, no. We're the millions who represent billions. We're like, what's that? We have them in every country in the world, including Antarctica penguin people. So they just remember it and they wind up saying them. But I think for you, you're not going to figure it out in one day. It really is like writing down everything that your program does and represents, the core values, and then thinking of normal people words for those things. You don't have to do it now.
So I will tell you where this comes from, right? You were not the first person to get this kind of feedback.
Oh, no.
Nor will you be the last, right? This is actually for all the insiders as well as like one of the sessions that Donna and Brandon was part of.
This is good for anyone who works professionally.
Oh yeah. Like everybody that's watching this, like take this stuff to heart. Because like some of my one-on-ones with Donna includes this exact stuff. About it's the whole concept of building your personal brand and things like that. Didn't you give a session on that this week?
I did.
Did you have Brandon on stage?
Brandon was my case study / victim on spinning his tail.
Who's over there talking to somebody about the Insider program?
People's brands don't need to be, I am an exceptional speaker and an expert at Windows Server. That's like everybody you know. Right? But brand is more like what you're known for and how you do it. The what you're known for is probably going to be super similar to people around you.
Food and taco hats.
See,
I'm just
super
saying.
different. But it really is the how that matters. You can explain things in a very normal people way, right?
Yes.
So what you do is similar. Like PM of this thing.
Yeah.
Lots of people are PMs at that point, right? But you explain it to public in a normal people way.
Yep.
So your how is really different. Your how is indeed your brand of your what, right?
Yep.
My name is Karen. I explain to normal people way how to do that.
Okay.
But spinning your tail is super important because that's how you get all these opportunities to go on stage, write things, be on social.
Yep.
Because how is your how different than all of the hows around you?
Yep.
So that's the key. Not to like go on the soapbox.
No, that's
This is,
great.
like,
Thank you.
Super.
It's something I need to. I should have been better prepared for it because I was expecting to be in the background this Ignite. I have no sessions.
No.
I am not actually working a booth.
Come here.
And my job was to coordinate my partners and players and everything.
enable them, right?
And enable them to be successful and have a really great Ignite and make sure all the other PMs were telling my message in their sessions.
Do you think you
And then all of a
succeeded?
sudden, that's been great. And all of a sudden I am, sitting here talking to you guys and I'm on Channel 9 in 20 minutes and
Get your line, yo. Get your line.
see how
And
that works?
all of a sudden, I'm now a public face for my program, and I'm like, I didn't prepare for that particular part appropriately.
But that's okay, because I will say this.
okay.
And
It's still been a great show. I'm not complaining.
I guarantee you, everybody that has ever watched any of these webcasts that we've done, right, knows that I walk into them and they are completely unscripted. Right?
As noticed by the fact that you got attacked. Yeah.
with the exception of like when we had WSD on a couple weeks ago, right? They had a PowerPoint of things that they wanted to talk about, but even just the general session with them, the flow of the conversation, it's not pre-scripted, and we didn't sit down and practice for 2 hours at a time. No. It doesn't work that way. Because for me, like, I like just getting to talk to people. And so if I'm sitting here trying to pre-script or remember bullet points, everything, it's going to come across as very unnatural, and I don't know. Like,
I didn't know what to expect. I just
want it to be authentic.
I just walked over here because you told me you were going to be on at 11
And say, hey, you should come be on air.
Like the preparation was last night. I saw Jason at pizza, and he's like, "Hey, I'm doing this at 11. You
All
should
good
come by."
things happen at pizza.
That's literally how this stuff happens.
It's literally the only time I see Jason outside of work is at a pizza joint.
Hey, I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong, I love pizza. Carm's a great guy, and I love pizza. It just works.
Oh, and it's never mind. Sorry, I take that back.
No, that's all right.
One exception proves the rule.
That's all right. So when you get on Channel 9 here shortly, what are you going to be talking about? Obviously the same general
Well,
topic.
clearly I have like 22 minutes to make my brand and my one-liner. So thank you, Donna.
There you go.
You got this.
But yeah, no, I'm going to be on with Paul Schmidt, and we're going to talk about the program. And she's got a lot of industry experience around this, right? She came from years and years of VMware experience. So she'll be able to appreciate all the technology, and we'll probably get to geek out a little bit together. It will be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
That's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to get out of this way so you guys can resume what you're actually talking about.
Okay.
And, have fun.
Yep.
It's all good.
Thank you.
You have to
I
tweet us
appreciate
online.
I will figure it out
Yeah,
and
when
tweet it
you
before the
got
show's
it, send it over to us.
Thank you.
Bye, Donna. Sorry, not sorry, right?
I had to work really hard not to make a building your own Brandon joke when she was saying she works on Brandon on his brand.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just too
Build your own
obvious.
Brandon.
Yeah, bring your own Brandon. Yeah.
That's fantastic, man. Well, hey, I hope you know.
Yes.
Number one, thank you for popping in.
Of course.
I really appreciate it. Number two, it's always good to get airtime for things that, whether it's consumer or not, right? Like just like we were talking about, evangelism in general, right? Spreading the word that there's something that we're working on helps people know that it exists. And then, when the proper questions come up or somebody's looking for something, hi, Jen. It kind of just waterfalls from there, right? Somebody knows somebody, oh, hey, I heard about this one thing that one time, and just kind of work it from there.
Cool. Thanks,
I'm going to
guys.
say, good luck on your Channel 9 thing.
I'm going to start walking because apparently I have to go to the other side of Orlando.
All right.
Thank
Cheers,
you.
Tom.
I would love to leave him with you, but he's going on Channel 9 too.
Uh-oh, we got somebody else coming on. I told you, today was going to be a day of just tons of people. Hop on around. I'm going to put you in the hot seat.
This one?
Yeah. No, right here. Right on the other side. So Gabe?
How's it going?
Jason?
Nice to meet you, man.
So, let's do, we're going to do the usual stuff here. What's your name? What do you do? Where do you work? All that kind of fun stuff. Obviously, you work at Microsoft. But
Yeah.
Tell me the fun stuff.
So my name's Gabe Frost. I'm the group program manager for the engineering team that builds all of the Windows Update functionality for
Whoa.
Windows. So we update something like 1 billion devices. It's got a pretty important service.
So are you on the WSD side of things?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because, by the way, webcam's up there if you want to
Hey.
look at it. I had to draw on the whiteboard where the cam's at. Was it 2 weeks ago? We had a webcast, and Joel Fraunheim was on
Yep.
there, and we had an entire webcast dedicated to servicing. But so you're here tonight.
Yep.
Your booth, y'all are discussing what? Obviously, tons of people coming through, lots of customers.
Yeah.
What are some of the common questions that you're getting?
Well, so first, I just got done with a session and where I talked about a template for how enterprises, commercial customers generally, a template for how they can think about thoughtful rollouts of Windows. And that template describes how do I evaluate at the early stage, how do I form a pilot, and how do I do a broad rollout. So we talked about Windows Insiders and our role and how we do that. And the key thing though is, so here's a template. here's how Microsoft executes this template using AI to update 700 million machines.
And counting.
And went into some detail about that and how our AI works, and then how enterprise customers can execute that template themselves using analytics and configuration policies and their management tool of choice. And so it was a really good chat. And here at the booth, we have a servicing booth, and most of the questions that people are asking are like questions that are answered by that template. How should I reason about this? I'm ready to update from 7 to 10, or what's a ring? Or how do I, they're honestly just sort of looking for some confirmation about their strategies and thinking about how they are constantly updating and delivering software as a service as opposed to these big project-based updates.
Yep. And that was one of the things that kind of tangential to that. It was like during the WIP, I gave a WIP 101 session both on Monday and Tuesday, so a couple days ago. And part of that was talking about like the IT professional role and enabling their broader enterprise to be successful. Yeah. And one of the things that I highlighted was I used to work in the call center industry back in the day, right? Yeah. I started off taking calls. I used to do call routing and stepped up and then forecast. I did all kinds of stuff, right? But one of the things was, in one of the roles that I held, it was a very thankless job, right? When things were going well, everybody seemed to forget about you. Yeah. But as soon as a big project came where nobody wanted you to fail, right? The spotlight was immediately on you, all this pressure. And if anytime something went wrong, people are ready to be like, it's your fault, it's broken, why do you, it was, you didn't get a lot of the reward and support side of things. It was always focused on something's not working as expected, right? But you look at a broader scenario like this, right? When you're doing these big rollout deployments, right? Making the jump from 7 to 10 is a significant investment. But then kind of once you get the ball rolling, right? It sounds like some of the things that you're doing to enable these partners will get them rolling on a very smooth and continuous basis. So there's not so much of this fear, so to speak, going in because, hey, I'm on, I'm already on Windows 10. We're just taking this next feature update that's rolling along. We've had the insider program with the ability to test some of this stuff out. We know what's coming. We know it's going to be good in an organization. We can go ahead and deploy it without feeling like we have to create a year-long project, be super worried, wonder what people are going to break or whatnot, because we've already had a chance to preview it.
Right?
I feel like I just stole some of your thunder, sorry.
No, so if I may,
why
don't I walk? So let me talk about this template in a little more detail.
Absolutely.
And talk about how insiders just play such an important role in our ability to succeed, rolling out 700 million devices, and how important we think it is for enterprise customers to follow the same kind of template with Windows Update for Business. And so the first phase, so there's 3 phases to the template. This is early learning prepare phase, a pilot phase, and a broad deployment phase. And so in the early learning phase, one of the reasons why that's there, and it's really important, is that we have a support cycle that coincides with a semi-annual update. So we push new feature versions out every 6 months. Yep. And that every version is supported for 18 months after that. Yeah. So you can imagine that if you start to have a larger organizations with more machines, and it takes you time to phase your update across all of those machines, you don't want to be at the end and go, awesome, we just got done with that, and now all of them are out of support, and you've got to do it again. And so having this concept where you can move your planning further to the left on a timeline is really important, so that when we release to the world, you already have you've made sense of the world a little bit, like you've evaluated the diversity of hardware and software that you have, and you have some sense of how that runs. But what we learned in that first phase is that insider community that we have, which is many millions of machines, doesn't broadly represent the full diversity of hardware and software for who we're updating, and that's true for our customers as well. And so that's where pilots come in, where now you have to, for the folks that have said, hey, I'm a seeker, I want to try this early, I'm willing to give you feedback on it and look at it. Now you need to be able to choose a set of machines in a perfect scenario, it's the smallest number of machines that represents that diversity of hardware and software, so that you can phase and update across those machines and start to build your confidence, right? Sure. Once you've gotten through that, you now have the confidence to be able to do a broad rollout and know how to stage that across the organization. And you have to take different factors in play, like, sometimes businesses have a regular rhythm of business. Like, you probably don't want to push an update during April for an accounting firm, right?
It seems sensible.
Or schools, like when school's in, there's certain kind of like thresholds that you have for risk in terms of like how you want to roll these out. And so, being able to leverage insiders and enroll them is really important, and we have a couple ways to do that. So one on what consumers, so the tenants that Microsoft manages are consumers, right? Sure. But for businesses, they can use their tool of choice, and so we just recently enabled Config Manager to enable folks to go in and connect a group of devices to Windows Update and enroll them in Whip Fast or Whip Slow, Windows Insider Preview for those of you watching who don't know what acronyms stand for. The Insider program. And so you can use Intune, you can use Config Manager, you can use scripts, custom scripts if you want to, but either way, you have a way to identify a set of devices. They can either enroll themselves, or you can enroll for them. For those, like maybe you want your IT guys and gals to like go have that installed, and so you can create a ring, here's a set of devices, and I want them to get insider preview builds, and then you can start to look at your analytics and reason on it and drive that process yourself in that first part of the template.
Yeah, and so I'm calling my own self out here, right? Because I'm always learning, because as I was talking to Carm before you, like, there's always this whole scope and scale of everything that Microsoft's doing, and it's, even me as an internal employee, it's really hard for me to keep up with just how much stuff we do and what all we're capable of. So like when we started the Whip for Business effort originally, it was very group policy focused. Yep. But there was a lot of people that came back and said, hey, we would love to try this, but we don't deploy updates through GPOs. We want to keep within the framework that we're already using, right? So MDM came into question and into SCCM, right? And so, as much as I hate having to admit this, it wasn't until Monday that I realized we could do Whip for Biz through SCCM.
Yeah, it's brand new.
When did it actually launch? Just so, because like I don't know if I missed something for the past 6 months, or was it like a couple weeks old?
Yeah, it's like it's very new. Like in the very latest releases.
Okay,
that's been lit
I'm
up.
not too far behind. I just hadn't heard about it yet.
Yeah. And so what it looks like is. It's dissimilar from the way that you would typically go and choose a semi-annual channel release that you want to, or like an official release. Like when we release 1809 imminently, there would be a process where they'd go through and they'd scan and select the things that they want to approve and figure out how they're going to go deploy that. With insiders, it works a little bit differently. With insiders, what you're doing is you're actually connecting devices rather than pull that from their WSUS catalog on a distribution point. They're actually getting it from Windows Update from the cloud, right? From the actual Windows Update service directly. And so it looks just like if you were to do it using like group policy, for example. So it's a way to sort of slipstream the first embodiment for how to do that into an existing tool that people love and are familiar with. And then we'll continue to iterate to make that more native over time in that tool.
And that's the thing is, like I said, from us iterating from group policy just kind of on down, like anything that we do that makes us a little bit easier to manage, to set up, right, to control on an ongoing basis, the less startup effort that is required, the greater the adoption rate will be. Right? Because I will say this, right? One of the things that I've heard from a lot of, there's tons of IT folks, at this conference, is like there are things they want to do, but they are so busy doing the things that they're already doing, adding something else on is a tax against them doing their, what I'll just say, just lovingly call it like their day job, right? Even though this should be an important factor because it will make their day job a little bit easier if they get this right.
We're so committed to this and are so humble from some of the learnings that we've had over the last couple of years, or last year really, in terms of like how do we have that conversation with customers about SaaS, like cloud offerings versus some on-premise tools that they're using. Sure. And what we really are embracing is that as we deliver new value, it's going to where they are because we know our customers love the tools that they have, and we want to continue to advance and add value, cloud-based value to the tools that they love, right? And allow them to adopt that capability on a time frame that makes sense for them, so that they can just reason on it, right? It's really just like you just said, there's so many new things that are going on. It takes some time to just make sense of the world. And as I'm trying to make sense of it, I don't want to have to forklift all my tools to some new set of tools. And so, one of the great things about how we think about these thoughtful rollouts is use the tool you already are using that you love and drive this process from early planning to piloting to broad deployment with a tighter feedback loop as you go so that you can sort of figure it out. Like a great example, you mentioned your work in help desk. One of the things that we do when we roll out all these machines is we have our help desk call systems integrated into our process. It's all automated. So we just recently added this, and so we actually have thresholds where we will automatically put devices in rings and throttle them back based on thresholds and call volumes that go up for certain types of systems. And so one of the things we're thinking a lot about now is as we build all this capability first party for us to do it, making all of that available for a third party. So a lot of the stuff we're doing in our service is, my job and my team's job is productizing all of the value that we dog food internally to roll out our Windows updates.
Love it.
So our customers have the same tools and the same advancement and the same capabilities that we have to roll out 700 million to a billion devices.
Well, it's like the same concept as a build, right? We create these builds, we run them through our own internal rings before we share them externally to insiders, the fast, slow release preview, so on and so forth, right? But the same thing happens. It sounds like we're doing it with our own products, which is obviously the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Create it internally. Is this successful? Does it work? Get some feedback, make some iterations, and then when the time comes, be like, hey, we're going to enable you externally to use some of these same tools that we've created.
To the point of feedback, like we look at your feedback and we value it. So go into the feedback hub. I see those bugs. We see those traces.
Yeah.
We see the feedback that you give us about how to advance. And so Whip for Business, thank you. Continue to put feedback into the tool. I see it. My team sees it. We use it to actually advance what we do in our product. So,
and the good thing is from some of the people that I've talked to, right? Capture names, notes, emails, all this kind of fun stuff. There's actually some good follow-ups that I have of things that I'll share with you. I won't do it here and now, but I will be dropping you an email because I've got some good questions that I've collated.
You have a list of things I need to fix.
There's some requests. They're not bad things. It's just things that folks have been asking for to try to make the process a little easier on their side. And I think it's something to be good to share.
Yeah.
We're just saying bye. I'm taking here. We're going to session. Hi, insiders. Thank you for tuning in. Your session was awesome today.
Thanks.
Cool. Great feedback.
Awesome.
You keep doing the thing. Stay out of jail.
Yeah, no jail. I'm not going to jail. I'm sitting right here.
No jail.
Jail bad.
So, in parting, is there any links, any way that they can read up on some of the cool stuff that you're doing? Is there a website you can point them to?
If you want to go see the session that we're talking about where we introduce that template, there's a whole bunch on Windows Update for Business. My session in particular is BRK 2030, I think. It's either 2030 or 3020. It's one of the two. But it's using AI to roll out Windows and Office,
which is a big thing we started with
using
the last release cycle. It's going to have a huge influence in this one as well.
Absolutely. So you can start there and just take a look at. We had a bunch of sessions on Windows Update and what our support cycle looks like and how regularly we update things, and it's awesome. Cool.
Appreciate it, Gabe.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for stopping in.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of your conference.
Sounds good.
Cheers, man.
Bye.
Okay, fine. What's up, Jen?
I came. Hi.
I got somebody else for you. Like I told you, this is going to be a non-stop, just roll through people, right?
Yep. Guess who I am?
That's what's fun. I posted on Twitter yesterday that doing the conference webcast is like one of my favorite things to do. Because the monthly webcast we do, which is very educational, we pick one or two topics.
Yeah.
We go like a little further in depth into them. Right, there's a lot to be gained from it. But like the conference ones, they're a bit of just a crazy pants show where it's just people in it, people out.
I'm just gonna bomb your show. I'm just gonna come right in.
You're not gonna bomb. You're coming to grace the show with your awesomeness.
I would love to talk about the Office Insider program because I am Susan.
Okay, so so who are you?
I'm Susan.
What do you do?
Yeah, I'm in charge of social for Office Insider. So we need more people in our program to be testing out all of the preview features in Office.
Hold on, I'm gonna start. You start talking. I'm gonna post a poll real quick. So
yeah. Okay. Oh, don't make it mean though. Yeah. But it's been really fun being here this week, getting to share the goodness between both the Windows Insider and the Office Insider programs. Ooh, yes, I'd love to know how many Windows Insiders that are watching this are also Office Insiders. And while he types the poll up, I'm going to show you our sweet socks that are the hit of Ignite this year. Everyone comes by. If you're interested in a pair of these socks, send us a message on Twitter at Office Insider and send us a DM with your address and we'll send a pair to you. They have all the Office apps on them and we designed them. All right, let's see. Right now, we just announced it at Ignite on Monday. It's the Ideas feature. So it's Ideas at the very beginning. Right now, we're focused on Excel, and we're really like if you have a huge. I'm not a super big numbers fan. I'm more of a marketing person that doesn't spend as much time in the data. But if you are a person who needs help with managing all of your data, if you just open up an Excel spreadsheet with tons of numbers in it, we've got this Ideas feature using intelligent services that will pull up like awesome charts and help you make sense of all the stuff that you might not have been able to see just with the naked eye. So, and that's just the beginning of Ideas. It's going to stretch across all of our apps.
Is that live and fast?
Yes, it just went live and fast on Monday. So you do have to be an insider in the fast ring to be able to take advantage of that right now.
So is that just in Excel currently, or is that something that's split across multiple apps?
It's shared across multiple apps. But right now we've got this new feature is in Excel. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If it's anything like PowerPoint's design ideas feature, which if you guys do PowerPoint's all design ideas feature is like
so rad.
I just drop a couple of images and the text I want, and it makes it perfect. I spend hours.
Yeah, I know. It's like you can be a totally professional PowerPoint designer with no help at all.
I was like white background, black text. Those are mine.
Right, yeah. Or just pictures of cats. Or ninja cats or unicorns, just those. And now you can actually make it look pretty.
Yeah, so if you're in chat right now and you use PowerPoint, give us a virtual hand raise if you've tried some of those PowerPoint templates. I would love to see it.
I just see a bunch of
I will give you an actual hand raise because I use them all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Oh, what was it? I didn't see it.
So 44% yes, they're in it.
Yes.
44% no. And then 12% were like, I didn't even know there was an Office Insider
goodness,
program.
guys. Please. Okay, so we just launched a new website just for Ignite, kind of give us a refresh. If you go to insider.office.com, just like insider.windows.com, yeah, I don't know if that'll show up on the webcast, but maybe Jen
Jen's about to make it happen.
Yeah, she's going to make it.
That tall, guys.
Jen's about to show you a little postcard.
Right there, that is perfect.
Yeah, right there. Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, so we just put up this new website.
That's literally how far I can reach.
It was the exact right height.
So all of the information about how to join, on which apps, in which way. If you're a Pro Plus, it's got the Office Deployment Tool instructions. If you're a consumer, you go to File, Account, you'll see a little box that says Insider. It's that easy just to click it. Choose if you want to be in the fast or the slow ring, and it'll download the bits on your machine right then. So yeah, we need more people, especially in fast. Because the one thing that we hear is everyone goes, oh yeah, but I'm just your tester. Or I'm just your guinea pig. This is lame. I don't want to do this. But that's actually not what happens. When you're in fast, well, sometimes Ideas used to be called Insights. And so it's been in the fast and the slow ring as branded as Insights since April, and we've been making changes to it because of the feedback that we get from the people who are in the fast and slow ring. So yes, you're going to see some stuff that's like not quite ready for prime time. That's what an insider program is.
I mean, it's us getting stuff out so we can get feedback and make changes along the fly.
But yeah, like the new start screen, that was wildly different when it was in fast before it rolled out to everyone because of feedback from insiders. We have a forum. We take feedback via Twitter. I sit down the hall from those people, so I basically say, hey, we need some help. You got to fix this. Right, yeah, like, oh, word, oh my gosh, I can't print envelopes. And then I'm like, hey, dude, you got to fix this in this build. Yep. So, yeah, we really need more people in the Office Insider program because we're co-creating Office with you guys, and this is our way to kind of make Office more customer-centric. Awesome. Yeah. I don't need to take up any more of your time, but I wanted to say hi. And I wanted to say that I really hope we can have more Windows Insiders in our program because things like sets, like that was something where you needed to be in both to take advantage of the Office features.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, so we're gonna have more of that coming in the future. So you got to be in both.
There's always something new on the horizon.
Right, totally, cool. And yeah, like I said, come get some stocks from us if you're here. Otherwise, send us a DM on Twitter and we'll send you some.
At Office Insider.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
Bye.
Hey, Paul, Annie, y'all ain't getting out of this. Y'all did not travel. No. We're bringing two real, legit, honest-to-goodness insiders.
That's all they look to.
You don't get to hide in the background. Come on around. You can stand wherever you want, make room, hop in, shoulder to shoulder. I don't care.
Paul's gonna hide.
No, you don't get to hide. So who's your daddy and what does he do? I'm totally kidding. It was a terrible Arnold impression from Kindergarten Cop. It was bad, I get it. So who are you, what do you do, and why are you here?
So who am I? Eddie Leonard. I work for First Citizens Bank. I'm here because, well, one, this is fun. Two, because you guys asked me to come out here and help you guys talk a little bit about the Windows Insider program, a little bit about Windows Analytics. Come up on stage, did a session on Tuesday. Actually did a session on Sunday as well at the Diversity in Tech, which was a blast. I was part of the dude panel, the manel, as we called it.
Okay.
So there was four of us up there on stage, Donna, Jeremiah, Paul, and myself, and we talked a little bit about Windows Insider and a little bit about our stories and how we were able to convince our bosses to let us do the thing, as Donna likes to say all the time.
Trust me, I've heard that more times than I can count.
So this is actually my fourth straight Ignite. Started out 2015, so it's been a lot of fun.
So who are you, sir?
So who am I? I'm Wolf. I'm in New Zealand. I work for Auckland Council, similar story to Eddie. Basically jumped into insider early on. Did the business program pretty much ASAP. Something I really wanted to have, so we heard it was happening. That's pretty much it. And so you guys put me out to talk on, same as Eddie really,
Tuesday morning. It's all a blur, right?
Jet lag, yeah.
So y'all were some of like the early pioneers of the whole Wit for Business thing, and I will say we got a lot of feedback from these two, but in a good way, right? It's the same thing as getting feedback for anything. If it's hard, if it doesn't work, if it's broken, the process doesn't make sense, right? We expect to hear something so that we can fix all of those things. Like I was talking to Gabe a minute ago about, checking it out, seeing what do we need to do differently, making those changes to make life a little bit easier for anybody else that wants to do it. It's always fun being a pioneer because you get to hoe the hard road, so to speak, right? Where you're blazing the path that other people follow, right? Like we create something, some folks try it out, and like, hey, this isn't exactly as easy as it could be. So hopefully, iteration over iteration, we get it right and make it a little bit easier.
Oh, absolutely. It's it's part of being the Windows Insider. Talk about co-creating all the time, right? I mean, that's really what's great about this, and being early on. Really got to see that co-creating firsthand. I know, and Paul, like you said, we had his example of where he found a bug just recently, and provided that feedback. And I have to say, I've heard. I think there was an article, "Not Your Father's Microsoft." Totally changed. Everybody's always got this picture of how it used to be in the old days. Where it's get the operating system, it sits out there for 5 years, and it's like. We got a problem, and we said, well, that's coming Service Pack 2, Service Pack 3.
Yeah.
I mean, this is, you submit the feedback, and it's it gets taken care of. Sometimes it's a little faster than others, but it's prioritized, right? So it definitely is a great program. Definitely a great program.
Well, even today, right? Hearing people come up and say, well, number one, what is this insider thing, right? Like, and this goes back to some of the conversation I was having with Carm first thing when he stopped by, was like, we've been doing this for, we announced it for...
Your anniversary is in 4 days.
The no watch
Right,
thing.
I used to watch, now it's gesture.
Like it's true. Like we've been at this for 4 years, and there's still people that don't know that the program exists, right? And so for me, it's like half my heart hurts and it makes me sad, but the other half means it's like it's exciting for me because it means there's people we can still reach out to and deliver this program
Absolutely.
to, educate them on the benefits. And then, we have folks like yourselves who've already walked down the path. You see the benefits of it, right? You know what it is. You've seen how much it's changed in the 4 years.
And you just a
Much
whole
less-
lot,
and
yeah.
then just like the Wit for Biz stuff, how much it's changed in like just even the past year, right?
Exactly.
The continuous iterations of us doing things differently, like, and for me, like I've been on this team since 2015, but I was doing insider related stuff on the team that I was on before coming to engineering even. And just looking back and seeing how much, like even my job, like my individual role, like what I do on a day-to-day basis, how much it's changed over that course of time between what I do on a daily basis, where I focus my efforts and energy, the bugs that I'm tracking, the types of bugs that I'm tracking, right? The different feature areas of the products of, hey, this release, deployment had some bugs, but they got fixed, and the next release was great. Shells had some bugs, Stack had some bugs, Base had some. It kind of comes and goes in waves, but on the whole, release over release, things just keep getting better. I don't know, like, it makes it I'm still excited to do my job, right? And I haven't lost that fire and the excitement of being able to do stuff. And then I get to sit on this webcam and talk to people, right? I mean, I get it. There's people out there that they would be deathly afraid to be on camera, right? Like, how could
Ryan's hiding.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's like off in the corner, right? There's some people who would never want to do this kind of thing, right? And for me, it's interesting because people don't believe me when I say this, but I'm totally an introvert. But I'm an outgoing introvert, so when I'm around people that I like, people I'm comfortable with, people I enjoy working with, I just turn into this blabbing machine, right? And 4 years ago, way before I'd ever done my first webcast, I didn't know I could even do this kind of stuff, right? So getting involved in this program and having this be part of my job has shown me things about myself that I didn't even know existed, right? I had never had the opportunity to kind of step outside of my usual little zone that I was in, and I was like, wait, I can do this. I'm actually capable of this, right? I can get up on stage and talk to people. Cedric can hold t-shirts up in the background that are insider shirts.
Come get one, by the way.
It's gonna sound, I don't mean this to sound cheesy, but it's absolutely true. Being involved in this program has taught me things about myself that I didn't know about. It's not just a job, it's not just a career at Microsoft. It's interesting how it spills over. And in talking to insiders, there was one of the insiders we interviewed on the podcast. He works at a company up in the Northeast. Because of his efforts in the program and some of the stuff that he had done within his business, and then just spending time talking to us, we had him on the podcast, did this interview and whatnot. He ended up getting promoted because it took some of this external recognition for his boss and his leadership chain to understand some of the impact that he was having, not only within his company, but kind of more broadly, being able to share his story, the things that he was doing. And it took him that next step, and it's helping him get to where he wants to go next. And so, when we go around and we're I'm going to use the evangelism word again, when we're evangelizing this program and what it's capable of and what people can do, it's not just lip service, right? There are real people doing real things because they have an this insider platform is helping them open doors and teach other people things that then gets them the recognition, because everybody's capable of doing something. You just have to find out what it is.
I agree.
Yesterday said that being a part of the insider program actually got him promoted in his career.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
Yeah, he ended up the area expert, and they were like, well, we need an area expert to help do deployment, and suddenly he owns deployment.
See, the better you are at your job, the more work you get. which is sometimes not a bad thing, right? No, it's absolutely fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
It's just, you have to be willing to take the risk, you know? Like, there are so many people that are so afraid of the whole world, of the word failure, right? And I mentioned this earlier, right? When you're in a space that doesn't get a whole lot of recognition, right? The job kind of feels routine, right? Nobody pays attention to it until something goes bad, right? Some of that drudgery sets in. But taking the opportunity, right? So here comes some emotional coaching, right? Seizing the opportunity, right?
That's deep.
Really, it's what it is. Like, there's a reason both of you are sitting here, right? There's a reason Jen is senior community manager in the Shell space, right? She found an opportunity, took it, and ran with it, right?
Right.
There was recognition gained from that. She is now, recognized in multiple different external communities. People know who she is. They go to her to ask questions, right? I started off with this random taco hat sitting on a computer in the background. Somebody's like, "Is that a taco hat?" Right? And now I'm like, I'm the chief taco hat officer for Microsoft, right? Like, it's just random stuff. No, I didn't bring it this time. But it always starts somewhere, right? Whether by happenstance, somebody taking initiative, somebody seeing the possibility in somebody and being like, "Look, I get that you're capable of more or something bigger than what you're doing."
Pushing you, right?
Somebody giving you that nudge, opening a door for you. But somebody can open a door for you, but if you don't walk through it, there will be somebody else going through that door. So find your own doors to blaze, your own paths to go down. Just be willing to take the risk, because the next thing you know, you might be on stage at Ignite with us hanging out, being nervous and giving speeches, right? Because it has actually happened, and it will happen again in the future.
Yes, it has, and I know it will. But, you hit on something, though. Failure's not a bad thing, right?
Nope.
That means you're trying, right? If you learn from it and move forward and keep pushing on, that's a good thing, right? Failing to do something and keeping moving on forward and learning from that is much better than not doing something at all. Because if you don't try, you never know. I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah. I think it's just Jeff F. I love seeing all the screen names on the Mixer chat. I'm just gonna call you Jeff if that's not your name. Hopefully, I apologize. Okay, so it is Jeff. That's right. That is right. Yes. Okay, so yes, it is now. Failure is how you learn and how you grow. Absolutely. Right. Right along the points that I'm making is absolutely true.
True.
Absolutely true. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been like hammering on for almost an hour now. Like, no wonder I'm sitting here just slowly sipping. I know, and for those of you who notice, this is not Diet Mountain Dew. I'm totally heartbroken. There are both Coke and Pepsi products here, but they only have regular Mountain Dew. And I figured caffeine was enough of a first layer. I didn't need the sugar and the caffeine. So, I decided to slip with the Diet Coke instead of the regular Mountain Dew. So. Anyway, so I'm going to ask you, what has been your favorite part of Ignite so far? The walking. You exercise walking between the buildings.
The heat and the humidity.
That's your favorite part?
Sarcasm delivered. You're on webcam.
Welcome to the show.
See? Oh, this part closed. I'm going to refresh this. All right. So, now, since it's not the heat and humidity and walking between the buildings, which is super fun, what is your actual favorite part of Ignite?
Well, for me, the scale really has been somewhat intimidating. It's huge. Coming from a smallish country, and just coming here, and I think we've been meeting people. I've talked to them through the program. Huge buzz being around.
Yes.
And just people you only really ever talk through technology. Meeting them on the flesh, talking, getting their story, finding more out about themselves, myself. That's probably the best thing. I mean, the sessions are great too.
Of course, all the sessions.
So I'll kind of tie those two things together, because for me, so first of all, I'm glad that all the sessions are recorded, all of them were streamed live, available, because that's allowed me to kind of do something that kind of helped me get me where I'm at today. That's how I got involved in the Insider program for business, right? I worked with Blair back in the beginning and working with the rest of the team and getting to know everyone. It's a combination of the networking, really, and then being put outside your comfort zone. I think that really is a big thing for me, because like you said, I've never been one to go up on stage. I've done small talks and little talks, but to go out in front of huge groups of people streamed all over the world, globally, That's huge, right? And scary. Like I said, it's scary. It's definitely terrifying. But again, I think Raji had done a post on, you're always going to be afraid. Face your fear. It doesn't matter. And here she is up there doing a big keynote, and I mean, she nailed it. So for me, yeah, it's a combination of the networking and being put outside of my comfort zone. So those are really it's kind of combined into one favorite thing.
So I'm going to ask another question. And I'm gonna put Jen on the spot, and I'm gonna ask her to answer this one too. So we'll just go in reverse order. We started this way, we're gonna come back this way. What are you doing next?
It's a good question.
What's the next step for you?
So next step for me, more involvement in the community, work on MVP. I have a goal of making MVP by next year, Windows Insider, and come back and do another talk. Be on stage again next year. That's kind of where I'm at from this point.
Sounds like you got a plan.
I don't know if I got a plan. I got a goal.
Okay. He made a key distinction, right? Plans versus goals, right? Goals are things you want to do. Having a plan helps you achieve the goals.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm going to have to piggyback on video. Same stuff. You got to go back. You got to get more, do more in New Zealand. Go to the regular meetups every month. Talk to people. Help them. Get them to help me. Do a bit of spin your tail stuff.
Oh yeah,
totally.
That's trying to pull myself out of my introverted shell, trying to be more confident to speak. This is not something that's at all confident.
Sure.
But I've loved every minute. Just getting out there and speaking is. Once you're up there, you're just gonna go.
There's no turning back, right?
Yeah.
What's funny is
Once they close the plane doors,
you're not getting
you
off.
are on the plane.
Well, maybe.
Well,
It's really exciting.
oh gosh, you're gonna get some unwanted attention at that point.
Yeah.
Jen? Yeah.
So,
I'm gonna answer the question too, by the way. Like, I'm not exempt from this question because I have goals and plans too.
so what's next?
Yeah, what do you want to do next?
Mention each one.
Well, yeah, of course. We're
Easy
all
out,
on the
easy
18
out.
one boat,
So, some of you may or may not know, I made senior recently, which is just like a step up in the general chain of growing my career. And I'm a bit special in what I do at Microsoft, the things I do. And so it means that,
It is kind of a self-carved role. It is what Jen does is not a common role that every single team has, right? We talked about community champs before. There's lots of community champs, but Jen has kind of spun it into like a job, like where that's her primary job, and that's not super common across community champs because a lot of the community champs that do what they do, it's an add-on to the work that they already do on a daily basis. Like Jen was doing that, take the community champs thing to like the next level. So now she's like community champ extraordinaire.
so what that just means that, so basically, all I have to be compared against is my previous self.
Right.
And we already know that what I was doing at the previous level, that's basically previous level me. So I kind of have to figure out, what does it mean to be senior and do what I do? How can I improve impact? How can I help other people more pick up the skills that I have?
So it sounds like mentoring, right? A lot more mentoring.
Maybe. But that's the thing, I already, once a week or two, I will consult people from around Microsoft because they're interested in learning how to do more. So
That's good.
maybe do something on a bigger scale. We'll see.
So now I'm putting myself on the hot
So
seat,
Jason,
right?
what's next?
You mentioned the mentoring thing, right? Like part of the plan that I have worked out, for myself. And Donna was super quick to sign off on it, right? Because it's kind of a no-brainer thing. Like one of the things that I have found along the way that I'm told that I'm good at, right? Is in talking to people and trying to break down complex stuff into ways that's just easy to communicate, easier to understand. So it's like I'm able to grasp the technical side, but then have normal conversations about it. One of the things that we are trying to do broadly is to have more of the engineering teams doing some of that same stuff, right? We need more gens, right? And so like one of the goals for myself is to connect with some of the teams that don't really get FaceTime, so to speak, right? Like a good example would be like the base team, right? They're responsible for the Windows kernel. They're not exactly the most prominent team out there, right? They don't have webcasts. They're not super, visible on Twitter or anything.
The stuff they do is critical.
Yeah, if the kernel doesn't work right, we all have got problems. And so to have them kind of come forward and talk about the things that they're doing, why they're making some of the changes they're making, some of the things that some of the experiments that they're trying, some of the things that they want to accomplish, things that they've done that didn't quite work out as expected, and some of the things that they've done that silently behind the background have made everybody's life easier, whether they know it or not. Right? There's a lot of stories to be told. There's a lot of goodwill to be gained from them coming out and saying, "Hey, we're doing this on your behalf." Right? There's a lot of that needs to happen. So in tangent to that, a part of what I want to do is help them be able to come out and share the things that they're doing, right? To be able to bridge that gap between we're doing all this technical hardcore work and we're able to go and share the story of, even if it's just getting teams to write blogs saying, hey, we're doing this really cool stuff, right? The actual complete path isn't completely laid out yet.
So, did you read the networking blogs?
Yeah, they have they got some awesome stuff they're talking about.
It's like the 1 to 10 top networking features that are coming with this release. It's like RS5 and the server version. And if you're into technical details, you should super check it out.
There's a lot of folks that are.
I think Dave Cuomo is the guy, but we've linked a couple of them in the flight notes. I'll try to dig it up later.
Yep. And like one good team that's done. They've done a great job of getting out there in various different ways. And if you've been following the blog post through the RS5 releases that we've done, is the accessibility team, right?
Oh, yeah.
We've had this ongoing running kind of like Word doc that's been linked to in all of the blog posts, where there's a continuous list of all the changes of everything they've been bringing in because it's such an important area. And it's one of those things that while not every Windows user necessarily uses these features or intentionally turns them on, there are things that are being done by the accessibility team that impact people in ways that are like, oh, I didn't even realize this was, this started off as an accessibility feature. It just became the thing. People use it not knowing where the history of it has come from. And so they're doing things and like they're telling that story and we're helping them get some FaceTime broadly. And not only do they get to kind of publish it and get insiders to take a peek behind it, when it goes broadly, right, it's going to be one of the things that we have core set of notes on. These are some of the things to try out. If you are using these features, right, if you have a need for them, by all means, go and try this out because we've made your experience that much better. Having teams have the ability to tell those stories is another big thing that comes out of what the Insider program represents.
Yeah, it's tough to find some of those things sometimes. What are you get a list of the big key features like you're talking about, but the stuff that's underneath the hood, sometimes that stuff's important to certain groups of people. Like I know our hardware guy, he's all about the processor technologies, the system board technologies, and how it interacts with the operating system, driver technologies, of course. So getting more information about those things that would just be awesome.
Yeah. We've been working on including more of that in the flight notes, but there's still more room for it.
Yeah, we've been evolving for 4 years, and we're not stopping anytime soon, right? So we've been going. We're gonna wrap up here like pretty quickly, but I want to ask one more question before we kind of tuck out, right? Life or career advice that you would offer to somebody, right? And the reason I'm specifically asking this question, right, is being inside Microsoft, seeing what we do, being part of the Insider program. Like I've got specific things that I would say, right? But it's very different being in the program, but not being like part of the Microsoft side of it, right? There's very different perspectives to be gained. You have a very different career background than what my career background is, right? So knowing what you know, related to the Insider program or not, like just kind of broadly, like from a career perspective, what would you tell people that are looking to do something awesome?
I will sum it up just like this.
Okay. Don't
be afraid to ask or try. Right, I know we talked about this a couple of times as part of that process. Don't call it a project, whatever it is, whatever your thing is that you're doing. Don't call it a project, call it an experiment. don't be afraid to ask. I mean, that's just simply it, because the worst that can happen is they're going to say no. Don't be afraid to try, because the worst thing that happens is it doesn't work, and you either figure out why it didn't work and move on to the next thing. Those two things alone, and whether it's a new technical project, whether you're looking for a promotion, a raise, or even looking to meet new people, just don't be afraid to ask. I mean, it's quite simple.
Yes, simple. The fear can really leap freeze. Should I do this? Would I get in trouble? But work on your hustle game as well. I reckon.
It's a good one.
It's I've often hustled people for things that I needed. Way back in the beginning of 2015, I needed some hardware, so I traded. Hey, do you want to try Windows 10? Because I've got the magic operating system. I can give you Windows 10.
Yep.
If you'll give me this, so it was a little bit harder to go.
Yeah.
And work on your hustle game.
Get out there and just do it.
Yeah, do it. Do the thing.
It's funny, like all these little, I lovingly call them quips that Donna kind of spits out. Like there's real meaning behind them, right? They might sound a little generic, but they actually mean something. Jen?
Take pride in your strengths. I mean, a lot of what I am known for now, while I've grown a lot since then, I had that 10 years ago when I started at Microsoft. But back then, I don't know, I was shy. I didn't think they were important. I didn't think those were the skills that my company cared about. And it turned out that, really embracing who I am, I mean, it's made me stronger, and I think it's made the company stronger, and it's better for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Understand what you are bringing to the table, and just really go for it.
Overcome the fear. Get out and do it. Embrace your strengths. I'm going to say this because this has been a lifelong lesson for me, is be confident in what you're doing, right? Every single person, not just us sitting at this table right now, right? If you look at, if I could go pick up the webcam, right, and show you the entire floor behind us, right?
A lot of people out
The
here.
quite literal thousands upon thousands of people that are walking around here asking questions, understanding, learning, the people that are teaching other people things. Every single person, including those of you that are sitting or standing or whatever, watching this webcast right now, every single one of us are here for a reason. We've picked a hobby or a passion that led us to sitting here. Somebody took a chance on us at work. We went out and put in the hustle and the effort, asked the questions, embraced the things that we're good at, that landed us in the positions that we're in, right? I didn't just magically I wasn't just given a job at Microsoft, right? Everything I had ever done up to the point where I started working at Microsoft led me to that moment in time. Embrace the things that you're good at, but be confident in what you're doing, because you have the opportunities that you have because you're good at it. So keep pushing yourself. Just keep going.
Totally agree.
I'm all sappy right now. I'm
It's everybody tuned into the webcast, thought they were going to find out some dirty stuff, and now
we're giving them life lessons.
Now we got Dr. Phil moments.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So, I don't know. I don't know what else to talk about. I don't have more people lined up, so we should probably wrap up here. But I gotta say, Ignite has been a blast. There are tons of courses that were live streamed. They'll be on the website. So go do a quick search. Find the Ignite content from Microsoft. Watch any of the sessions that were relevant to you, that you think were important, that would be beneficial, or if it's just something you're interested in learning more about. I'm going to show you real quick. I stopped by one of the Azure booths and picked this book up. And it's just something that I'm curious to know a little more about.
Is that a sign of what's next?
No, it's not me prompting anything specific. It was just, I was wandering around, meandering, looking at the different booths, and I was like, this would be interesting. It's something I want to read up on. And this is actually available in a PDF form, and, I didn't even tell them I was going to do this, right? It's just, an example. The downloadable PDF, if you would like this book, let me see if I can actually show it.
I think it might have.
I don't know how well it came through, but it is aka.ms/Azure Dev ebook. I think Jen's going to type it in chat. Perfect, yep. That's it exactly. So anyway, like that's just one of the little things that has come out of Ignite. There's tons and tons of content, tons and tons of videos, lots to go learn. So whatever your passion is, whatever you're good at, whatever you want to learn next, find some content, get going, and remember the things that we've all shared because there's always the next step for you, so get out there and seize it. Anyway, we're going to wrap up. Thank you again. Glad to have you here. I hope you've enjoyed Ignite.
Oh, it's been a blast.
Right?
Thanks for having us.
Jen, thanks for popping in and the life lessons as well. And our next webcast, I think, is October the 12th, but stay tuned to the Mixer page. I'll update the banner with the next date and time, and it should be in our next newsletter as well. So until then, cheers, and keep being awesome. Bye, everybody.